Okay, fight fans and fight fiends, welcome back to Manny's Thoughts. I, of course, Manny MTL or Manny Montreal. Make sure to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and obviously thefightcity.com. As usual, I'll give you guys my thoughts on what's going down in the world of combat sports. Let's get started. Okay, first up, congratulations are due as usual. This time around, big fights in the Fight City, Showtime Boxing, Premier Boxing, and Groupe Yvon Michel threw on a fantastic night of fights at the Bell Center. Stevenson, Fundraiser 2, Alvarez, Pascal, and a great undercard. So first up, congratulations, Groupe Yvon Michel. I know you guys were aiming for 8 to 10,000 people, and we only got about 6,000. I think that has more to do with the economy than boxing fans. That, and there's so many fights going on in the next couple weeks that maybe some of us saved money to go watch another fight. Not the point. Still a great night of fights. Still a very tough card to put together. The undercard just kept falling apart. More on that later. What was left of the undercard turned out to be exactly the right recipe. Christian Mebly, beautiful quick knockout. Dario Berdyshin in a beautiful unanimous decision. Mike Kozuski also in a unanimous decision. Just great fights on their part. Eleider Alvarez. Beautiful fight against Jean Pascal. Jean Pascal did exactly what Jean Pascal does. Had a very typical Jean Pascal fight, kept it awkward, tried stealing the end of the rounds, but all that craftiness was not good enough for what is obviously a ton of skill. Eleider Alvarez just beautifully fights Jean Pascal. Part of me feels like he was holding back. A lot of people didn't mention this, but I mean, his coach is Jean Pascal's old coach. His promoter is Jean Pascal's old promoter. And he himself sparred Jean Pascal for 3-4 years. And knowing guys that spar each other right now that are on rival teams or rival gyms or rival promotions, I happen to know that despite all the rivalries, friendships are forged. And like it or not, it kind of sucks having to punch somebody that you kind of like, that you kind of respect. Now when I get to the respect point, I do want to give a shout out to Jean Pascal. A lot of people talk bad about him, and especially now that he's in the later stages of his career. But, you know, here's the thing. If you line up the people he's faced and the things he's achieved in boxing, he's done some tremendous things. And tremendous things for the city. So to you, Jean Pascal, I say thank you for a beautiful performance. Now, that being said, he did go the distance, so, you know, don't be surprised if we haven't heard the last of him. Now, as far as the main event, you know what, Fundraiser did a hell of a job selling this thing. There's no way I would have predicted it would have ended that quickly, but it did. And it had, I guess it was good, but it has some negative value to it too. Seeing as how Adonis hasn't climbed in the ring in forever, and everyone keeps saying, oh, well, that's better like that he only fights every 10 months if, you know, he's aging and whatnot. But, you know, a round and a half, I don't think it's enough. I certainly don't think it's enough for him to build up proper momentum against Eleider Storm Alvarez. Now, to touch on that real quickly, we will get an Adonis Stevenson Eleider Alvarez fight within the next 120 days. June, July, August, September. The reason I say this is because within the next 30 days they have to go into negotiations. It's mandated by the WBC, and although everyone kept tiptoeing around the idea of a unification with the winner of Ward Kovalev, the truth is this is twice the WBC has made an exception, and personally I'm not sure if they'll do it a third time. So, within the next 30 days, they reach negotiation terms. Then the fight has to happen within the next 90 days of that. So worst case scenario, end of September, beginning October, we get Alvarez versus Pascal. A true Montreal versus Montreal, who is number one in this town fight. Plus, The winner of that is more than likely gonna unify the title. And nothing but good for Montreal. Now, let me explain something else. As far as the light heavyweight division is concerned, it's Montreal's to be had. See, on the other side of things, Arthur Beterbiev, although he's had his contractual issues, is signed to fight another fight real soon. And he's first in line for the IBF, which is the title Ward held before fighting Kovalev. Now, assuming Ward wins and beats Kovalev, he will then face the mandatory IBF, which would be Beterbiev. Now, in case you haven't checked out the site or looked at some of my videos, I've been a little critical of Beterbiev recently, and I think they're working on it. Here's the thing. He's the IBF mandatory. Provided he wins his next fight, he's next in line for the IBF. So an ideal situation for me, for a Montreal fight fan, would be either Eleider or Adonis versus Beterbiev for a unification. Now, Beterbiev has a pretty hefty price tag, and they can't have him in rooms where, you know, you can put maybe 2,000 fans. It's just not financially reasonable. Now, on the other side of things, he's not drawing in all the fans that he should. The guy's a beast. I take nothing away from his skill as a boxer. Some work has to be done to get his name out there so that the name matches the dollar value. And as soon as that happens, I predict fights with Kovalev or Ward will be right down the road for him. Now, as far as other news in the Fight City, this great event in Montreal also allowed us to have a moment with the great Bob Miller. Bob Miller was in town, and I was just happy to see him there ringside where he belonged. It was just all around a good feeling, and I was happy he was there for Adonis. Here's hoping he'll be back in town for when Eleider meets Adonis. Now, as far as other Montreal news, we've got a lot of fights coming up in the Fight City. Just this weekend, we've got the Grant Brothers, and the weekend after that, we got another Yvon Michel show at the casino, and then Eye of the Tiger at the Olympia. It is busy, busy, busy in the Fight City. But before I get to that, this Friday, Club de Boxe LaSalle is throwing on an amateur event. It's for the kids. It's a non-profit gym. Every kid that goes there doesn't pay a dime to train. It's a very fun atmosphere. And on top of that, they got a really great coach in Dave Janot. Now, if you don't know Dave, stay tuned to this channel. I will definitely bring him up again in the future. I look forward to being there myself this Friday night at the LaSalle Arena on 75th Avenue and La Vérendrye. Tickets are still available at the door. I'm pretty confident they're sold out, but I mean, they can always squeeze in a couple of extra real boxing heads. So if you want to support a good cause, tickets are 20 bucks at the door. It's a joke. You'll have a great time. Make sure you come and check it out. Now, as far as what's going on this weekend, we've got some fights to talk about. First up, this Friday night in Verona, New York, the NABA Super Lightweight titles on the line. Joao Diaz 20-0 versus Regis Prograis, who is 19-0. I don't know too much about these guys, but it's going to be an interesting fight. Also on the card, I want to make a quick mention, Canadian standout Steve Rolls. But more importantly, and the reason I'm quite interested in this, the return of Francy Ntetu. Francy's been out of the ring for a little while, had promotional issues. I am just happy he's working. With David Benavidez in the news, I am pushing for a rematch. Francy becomes victorious this Friday night. Expect me to talk about him versus David Benavidez again. We need to get that solved. Please check out the Fight City. We got video on that too. We got to talk to Francy real quick at the casino. Then Saturday night at La Tohu, Grant Brothers is throwing down another event, headlining Francis Lafreniere. Also on the card, Chan Thompson, Rudy Pierre-Paul, Golden Garcia, Erik Bazinyan, Jean-Michel Bolivar, Mohamed Sumaru, and last but not least, making his pro debut, Jimmy Ray Thompson. You gotta check out this kid. He's got a great family lineage, and I'm looking forward to what he's gonna do in the ring. It's gonna be one hell of a fun fight. He's got a really good backstory. Expect more on him on the Fight City. I'm gonna be working closely on that. Now, as far as what we can watch on TV Saturday night, going down in Iowa, please look out for Maurice Hooker. He's gonna be in action. Last but not least, going down Sunday night, PBC and Bam Bam Rios is in action. Please check it out. So that's it for this week. Please like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I'll see you guys next week.